Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this session, we are going to learn about conditional approval flow in Power Automate. And we are going to learn about conditional approval flow by doing a project. So let's look into the project requirements. Guys, this is the workflow of the requirements which comes from one of the business owners. And his requirements are, he wants a system to manage the travel request expense. So let's understand about this workflow. So what's his requirement is, whenever any travel request expense is being submitted and if the amount is greater than 500, then it should go for manager's approval. If manager of the employee approves it, then it will go for HR approval, and once HR approves it, then only the request is considered as approved. Else request is rejected. So this is about one condition. If the amount is greater than 500, then only this path the workflow should take. So now let's discuss about the second path. If in case the amount is lesser than 500, then it should not require any kind of manager's approval. It should directly go to HR's approval. And if HR approves the request, then request is considered as approved, else it considered as rejected. So over here you will see that we are playing a condition over here. If the amount is greater than 500, then on the basis of this condition, we are asking the flows to take the appropriate action. So guys, this is about the requirement. So now let's proceed further and let's start implementing this project. So the first step, create a list where user will raise the travel request. So let's look into the schema, how the schema will look like, and then we will create the list. So guys, the travel request list should have these columns: title, which is of single line of text, which comes by default; approval status, which is of type choice, and it has these values: new, pending for manager's approval, pending for HR approval, approved, rejected. So these 5 choice options user will get for approval status. Then we have approval comments, which holds the history about approval status. Then we are having estimated fare, where we can mention the amount. Then we have travel purpose, which is of type single line of text. Then we have travel start date, which is of type date and time. Then we have travel end date, that is of type date and time. And at last, authorized airlines, which is of type choice, because the company allow travel for employee with authorized airlines only. So this is about a schema of travel request list. Now jump into the SharePoint and let's create this list. So guys, I am inside the site content, and over here I will come and click on list, click on blank list, call it as travel request, click on create. Now let's add the field. So the first field is type choice, and let's give a name approval status. And over here the first choice we have is the new. Then the second choice we are having pending approval for manager, and let it be red. Then we have pending approval for HR, let it be yellow. Or this one we can also darker yellow, and this is lighter yellow, that would be fine. Now let's add choice over here for approve, and this is going to be definitely green. So this is green, and at last rejected, or let it be little darker red. So now it is looking nice. Click on save. So now approval status column is being created. Now next column we are having the multi-line text, that is approval comments, which will hold the approval status history. So I will save it. Now let's look into what is the another column. We are having estimated fare, which is of type number. So let's do it. Come here, add column number, estimated fare, which is of type number, save it. Then we have travel purpose, which is single line of text, travel purpose, save it. Then we have travel start date and end date. So let's create that. That is of type date and time, travel start date. Then we have travel end date, which is of type date and time, travel end date. This is again date and time. Save it. And last we are having authorized airlines, and this is a choice. And over here we are having the value Emirates, Indigo, Air India. Only these airlines is preferred airline for the company. So let's create it. Add column choice, authorized airlines, provide a choice value Emirates, Indigo, Air India. Save. So guys, now we are done with the list creation. So now let's proceed further and let's start creating the conditional flow. So how we will do that? We will come over here, click on these 3 dots, and over here we will get the option integrate, the Power Automate, see your flows. So it will open the Power Automate site, and over here I will click on new flow, and over here I will select automated cloud flow. And from the automated cloud flow, I am going to give a name travel request conditional flow, and I will select the trigger when an item is created. So whenever a new item gets created inside the SharePoint list, that is travel request, then only this flow gets triggered. So select this one and click on create. So now next we need to specify the site address, and over here we are not getting our site address. So I will click on enter custom value and go back to our site, SharePoint site. I will grab the URL. I will come over here, paste it. And the moment I will paste it, I will go to the list name. And over here you will find that we have travel request. So now whenever an item is created in this particular list, then this flow gets triggered. So now let's proceed further for the next step. If you remember that within our requirement, we have a criteria that if the amount is greater than 500, then it should go to the manager's approval. So let's build that logic over here. To build that logic, first I am going to introduce the condition over here. So I will come here and then over here I will select the condition. Now next I need to grab the estimated fare. So how I will grab it? I will click on this, and over here I will get inside the body of this trigger. So over here you will see that we have estimated fare. I will select this one, and then over here I will check that if this amount is greater than 500, then it should go to manager's approval. So now let's build this logic. So the first step over here is that we need to grab manager information of the submitter. How we will grab the information about the manager? So I will come over here, add an action, and over here I will search get manager, and you will see that we have get manager connector over here. I will click on this, and over here we need to specify the user principal. So how we will specify that? I will click over here, then you will find that there is a dynamic content, and within that we need to search for the created email. So I will type email over here, and then you will see that we are having created by email. Whoever is the person who has created the request, we need to pick his email and we need to grab the information about his manager or her manager. So I will select this one. Now this is done. Now next step, we need to update the item with the approval status, pending approval, pending manager's approval. So let's do it. So I am going to click over here, add an action, and this time I am going to write update item, and over here we will get that update item, which is another action from the SharePoint connector. So I will select this one, and over here I need to specify the list. I need to specify the site address. I will copy this one, go back, we will select into custom value, paste it over here. The list name is travel request. ID I am going to pick from our trigger, select ID, and over here within the title I'm going to pick the title from the dynamic value. I will write title over here. I will select this one title, and from the approval status value I am going to change it to pending approval for manager. So as soon as the user creates the request, the flow will trigger. It fetch the manager's information, the submitter, and then it will update the item with the approval status value pending approval for manager. And over here we need to specify manager approval pending. We will specify the manager's name over here, and manager's name we will get from this place, display name. So over here I will select display name. So now we are done with this step. So now let's proceed further and let's add another action. So now over here the next action, we need to start the approval process. So how we will do that? I'm going to come over here, click on add an action, and over here we will search that approvals, and over here we need to select a start and wait for an approval, and within this I'm going to select the approve reject first to respond. So now over here we need to specify value for the approval request. I will come over here, make the title. For the title I'm going to tell that title of the approval request that I will get from the list. So I will search over here title, and then over here I will write approval request by and the display name of the submitter. So I will get it over here, created by whoever is submitting the request. Their display name is come inside the created by display name. So I will select this one. So now next specify the value for assign to. For the assign to, it should go to the manager. So how I will get the manager email? So there is a dynamic property that is called mail, and over here you will find that in the get manager connector we have a property called mail. I will select this one. Now let's build the details, and details we can build it like title. Then I want over here travel purpose. Now next we need to specify the item link so that manager want to see into the request. He can directly click on that link and it will open the submitted request. So how I will do that? I will come over here, search for link, and over here link to item. Next we are having the item link description, and that I am going to put the title only. So now we are done with this step. Now next we need to check the outcome. So how we will check the outcome? That we will build now. But why we need to check the outcome? Because if the managers approves it, then it will take further action and the request will go to the HR approval. But if manager rejects it, then it should be mark the approval status as rejected. Here the reason we require to check the outcome. So how we will do that? Let's look into that. I will come over here, click and add an action, again add a condition over here, and over here I am going to specify outcome. So you will see it over here, it is coming from the dynamic properties of the start and wait for an approval, and over here we are having outcome. Select this one, and then over here we need to check whether he has approved or not. So now this way we can check the approval status. Now next, once manager approves it, it should go to the HR approval. But prior to that, we need to update the status. So how we will update the status? Let's look into that. First, I will make a copy of it. So to make any copy, I will come over here, click on this three dot, and over here I will click on copy to my clipboard, and I will come over here, add an action, and go to my clipboard and paste it, because I want to leverage this code whatever we have written it. So I will come here, go to the condition 2, and over here we need to change the pending approval for manager to pending approval for HR. So that means managers has approved it. Now it proceeded further and it is waiting for the HR approval. Now next I am going to specify the approval comment, and for this I am going to tell that approved by manager, and over here whatever the comment he has added, that I can include it from the response of start and wait for an approval action. So let's look into this, and over here I will select comment, and you will see that we have response comments. So let me select this one, and the moment I have selected, you will find that it has put the loop. And this is the core behavior of Power Automate. If it is a array type of information, even though it has only one value, in that scenario also it will put the loop, and this is called apply to each loop, and that loop it automatically puts the moment we have used the responses. So this is about the approve case. When managers approve it, it should come over here and it will check the outcome, and then it will update the item. So I will put it over here, the further action, that is HR approval scenario. But prior to that, I want to handle the reject scenario. When manager rejects it, what will happen? So it will put the status rejected, and then workflow gets completed. So over here I will again come and copy this one, copy the update item, because I want to update the status, and over here my clipboard, click on update item, and then I will update over here and change the status first, rejected, and over here rejected, I specify over here rejected by manager, and I need to specify the comment also. So for that I am going to again come to the dynamic content and select for comment, and over here I will select responses comments. So now we are done with the manager rejection status. So now it marked as rejected. Now let's proceed further and let's think about HR approval. So over here, once managers approves it, it is coming to the HR approval. So let me bring the flow diagram again. So over here you will see that once managers approves, then it should go for HR approval, and in two scenarios it is coming for HR approval. If it is the travel estimated fare is lesser than 500, then it is coming directly to the HR approval, and this is direct path for HR approval. But if it is greater than 500, then it should go to manager's approval, and then from the manager's approval, if he approves it, then it go to HR approval. So over here we are seeing the duplication of the logic within the flow. So let's look into that, what I am talking about. So you will see it over here. What is happening? First, what we are doing, we are checking the, if it is greater than 500, then it is going for manager's approval. But if it is lesser than 500, we need to design the logic so that it will directly go for HR approval. And this is same scenario over here. If it is greater than 500, then it is coming from the manager's approval. That means we need to design the same logic which is going to execute in this branch, and that is repetition of code, and that is what I want to avoid it. So let's build a logic to avoid the repetition of code. So over here I will come, and this is the condition for manager's approval. First I will rename it manager approval. Now I will introduce a boolean value to check that HR approval needed or not. So for that I am going to use variable, and over here I will initialize the variable, and this is of type boolean. I will give it a name var HR approval, and I will give a default value true, and I will get it from this expression true. I will select this one, click OK. So by default we are considering that this is required, so I will give it a name HR approval. Now I will use this flag to turn it on and off if HR approval needed or not. On the basis of this flag we can check that. So now I will use the flag over here within the condition 2. If you remember that we are checking that whether manager has approved or not. If he have approved, then it will go to this path, and if he haven't approved, then it will come to the no path, where we are updating the status, that is rejected. But along with that I am going to turn the flag off also, and I will make it as false. So how I will do that? I will come over here, click on add an action, and within the add an action I am going to set the variable HR variable false. So over here I will select set variable, and I will come over here, click on var approval, and I will set it to false, so that it will not proceed further when we check the condition. So I will select this one. We have marked it as set variable false. Now we are done with the manager's approval. Now further we can check the HR approval. So over here I will come and add a condition over here, and this condition will check the whether the HR approval needed or not, and this boolean value holds the true or false flag to proceed further. If this value holds true value, then only it will go for HR approval. So I will mark it as if it is equal to true, then only it will proceed further into the HR approval, and over here I will start another approval process for HR. So let's do it. So over here I will add an action start approval. Over here I will select start and wait for an approval, and over here I will select first to respond, and then I will specify the value over here. I will pick up the title. I will specify the title like HR approval request for the title, and over here assign to, you can specify over here the group email address of the HR. To make it simple, I am going to specify a value, that is Alex. We will select Alex over here as an HR. Let's put the detail. Detail is going to contain title, travel purpose. We'll select travel purpose over here. Then item link is going to be link to item. We will select link to item. Then link item link description. I am again going to put the title over here. I will select the title. And now we are done with this step. Now next proceed further, and let's check the outcome. So on the basis of the outcome we will take further action. So over here I will again put a condition, and over here I will check the outcome. If outcome is equal to approved, then we will mark it as approved, else we will mark it as rejected. So let's update the status over here. I am going to click on add an action over here, and I have already copied it. I will select this one, update item. I will go inside the condition again, and over here I will specify approval status value is going to be approved, and over here within the comment I am going to tell that approved by HR, and who has approved it, I will display the name. So I will come over here and I will search for response, and over here you will find that display name. I will pick the response approver name, so I will write here approver name. I will select this one. Then I need to specify the comment which he has provided or she has provided, comment which he has provided. So I will search for comment. I will select this one. So now we are done with this action. Now let's proceed further, and let's build the logic for the reject case of HR approval. So over here again I am going to click on add an action, my clipboard. I will use the copied thing. I will click on update item, and this time I am going to mark it as rejected because HR has rejected this one. And over here I will specify the approval comments, and that is going to be rejected by, I will get the responder name who has given the response, and over here I will select approver name. I will select this one. I will specify the condition over here. I will specify the comment over here, the response comment, and then we are done. Now we are done with the logic creation. So now it's time to test our logic, and this is going to be HR approval condition. Let's save it. So now we are ready to test, but prior to that we are forgetting one thing over here, and over here we need to specify the condition if no. If the value is lesser than 500, then here we need to update the approval status pending for HR approval. So let's do it. I'm going to click on add an action, my clipboard. I will use this one, update item, and over here I need to select the status pending approval for HR, and in the approval comments I am going to mention pending HR approval. Now once it is being done, we need to click on save. So guys, now I am done with the development of the workflow. So now let's test it. So to test this, I am going to log in through Megan account to raise the travel request which is more than $500, and another request which I will raise from my account which is lesser than $500. So guys, I logged in with Megan account. Over here you will see that this is Megan Bowen account, and from this account I am going to do the testing for the scenario where my travel request is more than 500. So let me go inside site content and over here travel request, and now I will create an entry over here. But prior to that, I want to show you Megan's manager detail. So guys, I am inside the Microsoft 365 admin portal, and over here is the Megan account, user account, and over here you will see that Megan's manager is Miriam Graham. So now to demonstrate you what I will do, I will log into the Outlook of Miriam Graham, and there I will approve the request so that we can complete the testing cycle. So now I come back to Megan account over here, and I will create a new entry called travel to London office, and this is going to be the new estimated fare is more than $560. Travel purpose KT, knowledge transfer. Travel date, start date is going to be 20th, return date is 28th, and over here I will choose Emirates and save it. So now we have created a request from the Megan's account, and now our workflow gets triggered. So over here you will see that it has changed to pending approval for manager. Let me increase the size. So over here you will see that it is showing pending approval for manager. Now let's log into Miriam Graham account to check the approval email. So guys, I have logged in as Miriam account, and over here you will see that we got the message for approval which was raised by Megan. Let's open it, and over here you will see that it is giving us the actionable message. So I will come over here and approve this request and submit. So as soon as the moment we submit it, then it will go to the HR approval because we have set up our workflow like that. Now let's go back to the SharePoint, and over here you will see that it has changed to pending approval for HR. Now let's log into the Alex. Because we have made Alex as a HR person, and now once he approves it, then this request gets completed and marked as approved. So let's do it. So over here Alex got the email to approve it. So let's go ahead and approve the request. Approved and submit. Now let's go back to the SharePoint, and over here you will see that the request is being approved and the flow is completed. So now let's run the another test case where the estimated fare is lesser than $500, and that I am going to create from my account. So I will create an entry over here and which is lesser than $500. So I will come over here, travel to Delhi office, and over here it's new estimated fare lesser than $500. I will put 150. Travel purpose training, start date I can put 18, end date I can put 22nd, airline Air India, save. So now I have raised a request for travel. Now you will observe that it will change to pending for HR approval directly, and it will not go for manager's approval because we have set up the condition. If it is lesser than $500, then it will directly go for HR approval. Let's refresh it, and now you will see that it has marked as pending approval for HR. Now let's go back to the Wilbur's account and approve it, and over here I logged in as Alex Wilbur, and now I will go to the message, I will open it, and I will approve it. Approve and submit. And let's go back to the SharePoint and let's look into the status, approval status. And over here, let's refresh it, and you will find that this request is also been approved. And this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. Prior to closing this session, I want that you should do the testing for rejection case. That is your learning assignment. So on this note, I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye. Take care.